Kenya, twende mbele. NCBA, go for it.
In my hands, niko na power. Power ya scroll new worlds into life. Live 60 lifetimes every hour na mavida za 60 seconds. Ukiuliza what I'm doing on my phone, nitakushow possibilities in their billions. Siko hooked to my phone. Niko hooked to vile raia imepiga luku. Niko hooked to securing the bag from my sweat. Niko hooked to the coolest music hooks. Unachiki my smartphone. Hii ni Digiverse, a multiverse. Hapa ndipo you create. With every tap, na tap into a new world. Kila space inani reel in na baki na stories. So, usiulize what I'm hooked to. Ask what I can hook you up with. Hapa ndipo form inaanza. Wanna make the right connection? This is the place to be. Tap into vision yako. Welcome to a platform that empowers you to make the right moves. Come over. Get hooked to Safaricom Hook.
This is NTV.
Tonight, some light at the end of the proverbial tunnel as the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Parliamentary Group meeting has endorsed the report of the National Dialogue Committee, but with a caveat that some clauses must go through a referendum vote. Is this the next bone of contention between the two sides of the political divide? Will President William Ruto support a referendum that could potentially serve as a vote of no confidence against his government? Welcome to the broadcast. NTV Tonight begins now.
We also support the document with the proviso that certain aspects must be approved by the people by way of a referendum.
Azimio unleashes new tact against William Ruto, or is referendum an all too familiar card by Raila Odinga's team? Also tonight.
And honestly, this one you can blame yourself because you're the one who went away with this man. Ordinarily, I would have considered a more linear sentence.
5 years imprisonment for soliciting a bribe. 2 DCI officers pay a hefty price for corruption. The irony of the hunter being the hunted. Plus, solving the slippery edible oil tender puzzle. DCI grills directors of the Kenya National Trading Corporation and bankers. And
we came to the conclusion that an inclusive, employment-creating economic model is about investing the limited capital available where it creates the most employment.
There's completely nothing Hustler Fund has helped me with, because whenever I apply, he tells me that I do not qualify.
Ruto's brainchild turns one, a hit or a miss. The verdict in our NTV special report tonight.
Live from Nation Center, this is NTV Tonight with Ben Kitili.
Welcome to the broadcast. Tonight I am sitting in for Olive Barrows, and David Agondoa is our sign language interpreter tonight. Now, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition will support the report by the National Dialogue Committee in total. leaving behind thousands of Kenyans who felt that the proposals on lowering the cost of living were underwhelming. While announcing the coalition's position after chairing a parliamentary group meeting, Raila Odinga, who noted that the report was imperfect and unfinished, rallied his members to support it while promising to continue the struggle to lower the cost of living through other avenues. We begin tonight with NTV's Ibrahim Karanja.
The report by the National Dialogue Committee that has been the cause for a sharp public discourse will receive 100% support by Azimio allied members of parliament when it gets to the August House.
The document the team has come up with is ultimately imperfect and unfinished, but it is a good beginning.
This was the declaration Wednesday during the party's parliamentary group meeting chaired by coalition leader Raila Odinga. The lackluster proposals on curbing the high cost of living notwithstanding.
But we will treat the hard line on the cost of living at the beginning of another phase of this struggle. We will seek other ways to press the government to listen to the cries of the people and bring down the cost of living.
In the meeting, Odinga, who termed the document as imperfect and unfinished, was quick to highlight his coalition's resolve in addressing the cost of living, and that was met by a pushback from Kenya Kwanza.
But the government side flatly refused, terming it their exclusive business and further arguing that they got the mandate of Kenyans to execute their Kenya Kwanza economic agenda.
Sentiments shared within the meeting but behind closed doors were that the opposition coalition has no business in advising Kenya Kwanza on matters cost of living. However, Odinga indicated of a possible high-octane political season as they take back the issue of the cost of living to the people.
We will retain the right to call on the people to take steps that we deem necessary to force the government to lower the cost of living.
Azimio cites the audit of the 2022 election process and the proposed extension of the time limit for presidential petitions as huge wins from NADCO. NAC Kenya leader Martha Karua and DAP case Eugene Wamalwa had voiced their rejection of the report and were absent as Odinga was addressing the press, though they denied the coalition is dodged in differences. With the implementation of the report now seeming on the runway to a clear takeoff with the support of Odinga and President William Ruto, Azimio, however, notes that a referendum is unavoidable for some of the proposals.
To create the office of the leader of opposition or to formalize the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the people of Kenya have to have their say by way of a referendum. Besides, it is a constitutional requirement that such significant restructuring of government must go through a referendum to avoid the mischief that may be played by some people going to court.
Ibrahim Karanja, NTV.
Azimio leader Raila Odinga is now urging employers not to remit the housing levy to the Kenya Revenue Authority, arguing that the levy remains unconstitutional despite the court's granting stay order until early next year. Odinga's statement comes hours after the Ministry of Land stated that employers who will fail to remit the fund will be subjected to penalties. As NTV's Sydney Chazima now tells us, Odinga has now claimed that the Kenya Kwanza government is using the housing levy fund to collect monies to finance their 2027 election campaign.
A day after the High Court declared that the housing levy fund was unconstitutional, then giving stay orders to allow government to continue collecting the monies until 10th of February, Azimio leader Raila Odinga is now urging employers not to remit the levy.
We urge all the employers to immediately stop paying anything, because you'll be acting unconstitutionally.
Odinga's remarks have now put him in a collision path with the Lands Ministry, which had sent out a communique threatening employers with penalties should they fail to remit the levy. The Lands Ministry stated in part that employers' contribution to the affordable housing levy is an allowable deduction under Section 15 of the Income Tax Act, adding that an employer who fails to comply with the law shall be liable to payment of a penalty equivalent to 2% of unpaid funds for every month if the same remains unpaid.
Questions?
Odinga remains adamant that the matter is strictly down to interpretation.
The court made a very fundamental pronouncement that this matter is unconstitutional. Period. Yes. It's unconstitutional. A stay does not make it constitutional.
The Azimio leader further claimed that despite the government's spirited push for the construction of the affordable houses, the funds collected were being channeled elsewhere.
You got to understand that the housing levy, which even the courts have now found to be unconstitutional, cannot be scrapped because it is a gravy train. It is from this levy that the Kenya Kwanza hopes to build a campaign war chest for the next election. They forget that they may not get there.
Despite Odinga's claims, the Lands Ministry affirms that it is committed to ensure employers are supported and will continuously engage and collaborate with stakeholders to enhance compliance with the affordable housing levy deductions. Sydney Chazima, NTV.
The Anti-Corruption Court in Milimani has sentenced 2 DCI officers, Corporal Julius Onyango Oguma and Charles Macharia Wanjiru, to 5 years and 1 year in prison, respectively, after they were found guilty of receiving a bribe, concealing evidence, and obstructing Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission officers on lawful duty. 2 shot at EACC officers in an attempt to evade arrest while receiving a 200,000 shilling bribe from a Chinese national who was in the country illegally. NTV's Melita Oletenges has more.
The 2 were found guilty of receiving a bribe, concealing evidence, and obstructing EACC officers on lawful duty. Chief Magistrate Thomas Nzioki ruled that the prosecution had proved the case against Corporal Julius Onyango Oguma and Police Constable Charles Macharia Wanjiru beyond any reasonable doubt.
This one you can blame yourself because you are the one who went away with this man. Ordinarily, I would have considered a more linear sentence.
In 2018, EACC received a report that the 2 DCI officers had detained a Chinese national at Kabete police station for being in the country without proper documentation. They had demanded a bribe of 1 million shillings to set him free. EACC moved to arrest one of the officers as he was receiving the 200,000 shillings as part of the demanded bribe. The mission was unsuccessful after the officer was assisted to escape by his colleague after firing several shots at the EACC investigators.
The sentence, you had 12 months plus 3 years, that's 4 years, plus 12, that's a total of 5 years. The choice is yours. I've allowed you to at least raise the money.
The suspects were arraigned before court on 29th May 2022 after the Director of Public Prosecutions concurred with the recommendations of the Commission that they be charged for the offences. They had been in remand at the Industrial Area Prison since the investigations into the matter began. Corporal Julius Onyango Oguma was fined 500,000 for receiving a bribe of 200,000 shillings or in default serve 1 year in jail. A mandatory fine of 1 million shillings or in default 3 years in prison, and 400,000 shillings for concealing evidence and in default to serve 1 year in prison. Police Constable Charles Macharia Wanjiru was fined 400,000 shillings for obstructing EACC officers on duty or to serve 1 year in prison. The sentencing of the 2 is a win for EACC in the fight against graft. Melita Oletenges, NTV.
Tonight, directors of the Kenya National Trading Corporation, KNTC, are still being quizzed by DCI after it emerged that taxpayers could have been defrauded billions of shillings, according to an ongoing investigation into a questionable oil imports deal. The probe is coming in the wake of an NTV investigation earlier on a 6 billion shilling scandal in the importation of edible oils into the country. It's NTV's Brian Obuya with the details.
From the onset, NTV's investigations unit had laid bare the hidden plot by oily, shadowy, and politically connected individuals to controversially import thousands of metric tons of edible oils. When it was all done, somewhere over 16 billion shillings had gone with the wind. But Cabinet Secretary for Trade at the time, Moses Kuria, was not taking it. accusing the media of spreading falsehoods, innuendos, and fertile imaginations. Now the Directorate of Criminal Investigations has arrested senior managers of the Kenya National Trading Corporation, KNTC, seeking answers into the allegations of wanton theft at the state agency. Although the DCI was yet to give an official statement on the Monday evening raid at the offices of the KNTC, the NTV Investigations Unit has reliably learnt it could be a result of a deal gone sour at the agency where there is a hemorrhage of public funds. Those arrested are top directors, including the Managing Director Pamela Mutua. A bank official is also among those facing the 16.5 billion shilling question. The DCI is investigating how KNTC's irregular tendering process for the edible oils and other food commodities like rice and maize saw some companies contracted paid for substandard goods duty-free. This even as senators also weighed in on the matter, questioning whether the government imported 12,500 metric tons of edible oils after a Senate committee failed to locate the cooking oil meant to tame the high cost of basic commodities. The investigation is centered on how KNTC settled on the companies awarded the tenders and the board resolutions on the tax waiver by the National Treasury and the Kenya Revenue Authority to import the food commodities. Further, on whether the tendering was competitive, who were the winning bidders, and their identities. Even though the plan was to have cheaper cooking oil and other commodities, Kenya National Trading Corporation, the state agency tasked with the importation, appointed third parties to carry out the importation. The third parties were Shehena Trading Commodity Limited, Pama Holdings Limited, Multi-Commerce Free Zone Company, Chama Holdings Limited, Evertech General Trading Limited, Enterprise Supplies Limited. 4 of these companies are linked to Communications Authority of Kenya Board Chairperson Mary Wamboi. The 4, Chama Holdings Limited, Pama Holdings Limited, Enterprise Supplies, Evertech General Trading Limited, will gobble up 6.85 billion Kenya shillings of the suspected loss. The DCI may have swung into action, but a few things are not clear. First, whether the DCI is going to question the cabinet secretaries Mithika Linturi, Moses Kuria, and Juguna Ndungo. Then, EACC was already investigating this matter and has questioned some suspects and also written to the KNTC Managing Director to provide an array of documents. The fate of that investigation is now unknown. Brian Obuya, NTV.
Disease outbreaks are the latest risk in counties affected by floods. 391 cases of diarrhea have been reported in Garissa, Kwale, Mandera, and Wajir counties, while 94 cases of cholera have been reported in the county of Lamu. Meanwhile, families of 4 people who were swept away by River Muoni in the county of Makueni could not have their DNA sample taken after the officials failed to identify the body of a woman retrieved from River Athi in the neighboring county of Kitui. NTV's Martin Mwangi now reports.
Families of 4 people who were among the 8 swept away by River Muoni in Makueni County arrived at Mutomo Mortuary in Kitui County, hoping to identify the body of a woman which was retrieved from River Athi. However, that did not happen as the families gave contradictory accounts of the victims' body marks.
Hakuwa na nywele, kitu ya kwanza. Ya pili, alikuwa na alama. Mwenye ako hapa kwenye hii hifadhi ya mochari ya Mutomo, meno yake yote iko kwenye laini moja. Lakini hiyo yangu, ya bibi yangu, ilikuwa iko kwa laini moja.
8 people were swept away by the river 6 days ago. 4 bodies have been found. 3 of them have been identified. The other 4 are still missing, with such operations set to continue on Thursday along River Athi. As the effects of the El Niño rains continue to be felt in various counties countrywide, the government now says there has been an outbreak of cholera, diarrhea, and malaria in some affected counties.
A total of 391 cases have been reported of diarrhea in Garissa, Kwale, Mandera, and Wajir counties, while 94 cholera cases have been reported in Lamu County alone.
In addition, the number of families affected by the floods has increased from 89,000 to 93,000 in just 24 hours. The families are currently being hosted in 118 camps in the northeastern and coastal regions.
334 additional households comprising of 16,670 citizens approximately that have been displaced since yesterday. The total number of those who are directly affected has actually risen to 93,432 households, comprising of 462,160 Kenyans.
Emergency response measures, especially in the hardest hit counties, are still ongoing, with the government distributing food and non-food items, as well as cash transfers to the affected families. Martin Mwangi, NTV.
In other news, the Judicial Service Commission has condemned threats made by Mumias East Member of Parliament Peter Salasia to Magistrate Gladys Kiama, where he allegedly threatened her life. Magistrate Kiama filed an incident report at the Kakamega police station, citing the MP's threat to her life. Salasia is accused of allegedly accosting Kiama outside a courtroom after he lost a case in which the magistrate presided over. Salasia was sued by Robert Luther over failure to pay a 500,000 shilling debt that was issued to him in December 2022, the promise of paying it back within 2 months. Salasia denied the charges against him, claiming he was the one who lent Luther 1 million shillings. Magistrate Kiama ruled against Salasia, ordering him to pay the $500,000 debts as well as Luther's legal fees. The Judicial Service Commission joined the Law Society of Kenya and the Kenya Magistrates and Judges Association in calling for the arrest and arraignment of Salasia on the charges of threatening a magistrate. You're watching NTV tonight. Many thanks for joining us this Wednesday night. Many thanks for staying with us. Time for a quick commercial break. We're back shortly with more news for you.
OneXBet presents the new 1000% hyper bonus. Take part in. Place your accumulators with OneXBet and boost your winnings by up to 1000%. Hyper bonus, better than bonus.
Hi there, my name is George Washuri, CEO Optiven Group, and I'm very excited to introduce Ushidi Gardens Nakuru. This property is developed by Optiven, and we are doing compact and maram roads. We plant the trees, fence the property. What's unique about this property? It's only 1.2 kilometers off the highway and 18 minutes from Nakuru City, the pink city. So please call this number 0790 300 300. Optiven, we have you covered.
Optiven. Anyone can be Santa, like on the lady like me. I admit I'm underfed, but with a pillow from the bed, I could be Santa Claus. Oh, anyone can play Santa. I fantasized it a lot, with his hat upon my head and his suit of Christmas red. I could be Santa Claus.
Lamu County ikiongozwa na Gavana Issa Timami inawaalika katika sherehe ya Lamu Cultural Festival kuanzia tarehe 30 Novemba hadi tarehe 2 Disemba. Kutakuwa na ngoma za utamaduni, mashindano ya punda, kuogelea na majahazi. Kutakuwa na watalii mbalimbali kutoka pembe zote za dunia. Tembea Lamu, karibu Lamu.
Wateja huprefer stock zangu. Juu ziko tayari kuvaliwa pap. Lakini vile hii ekonomi imetufinya, ilinibidi kubadilisha sabuni nikatumia ingine rahisi. Bala, ilibidi nioshe kila kitu mara mbili. Sikuwa na otherwise, nikarudia Ariel. Mi hupata clean and fresh results kwa mwosho mmoja tu. Ariel ndio siri yangu. Sasa stoli yangu iko popular sana.
Ariel, usafi bora kwa mwosho mmoja tu.
Welcome back. The Financial Inclusion Fund, popularly known as Hustler Fund, turns one. But 1 year down the line, many Kenyans feel the money is not adequate given the rising cost of living. The fund has disbursed over 39 billion shillings and has recorded close to 2 billion in savings. NTV's Nina Shaban takes us through the fund's 1 year performance.
It started off as a campaign promise. President William Ruto's dream.
We came to the conclusion that an inclusive, employment-creating economic model is about investing the limited capital available where it creates the most employment.
On the 30th of November 2022, the just-elected president launched the Hustler Fund.
Hustler Fund, Jinue, Jiendeleze.
Further, the fund was designed to improve financial access to individuals and micro, small and medium-sized enterprises in Kenya, lending to individuals and businesses at 8% per annum, the lowest interest rates ever charged in the country. The fund has 4 products: personal finance, microloans, SME loans, and startup. Tomorrow, the fund turns one. The fund has disbursed personal loans worth 39.6 billion shillings and recorded 29 billion shillings in repayment. The total Hustler Fund transactions are at 52.5 million and the savings worth nearly 2 billion shillings. According to Hustler Fund acting CEO, that's Elizabeth Nkuku, the personal finance lender has witnessed success.
Focus was really to use your mobile phone for you to be able to access credit. So when you look at what people were, how the scoring was done, is really looking at your transactions.
In a year, personal finance has attracted up to 19 million borrowers and 8 million repeat customers. As for the other products,
then there was the individual biashara that was rolled out. For people who are running their businesses, we are enhancing that product such that we'll be able to really roll it out in the first quarter of next year. We have the Chama product whereby 10 of us can come together and through the benefits of insurance of people together, you actually get more credit, an enhanced credit limit.
Thus far, 2 products have been rolled out from the Hustler Fund.
So we are looking at 2 more. There is one for SME that is going to come in the first quarter, and then there is also one for startup that will be coupled with all the other things that comes with acceleration of the project businesses.
According to Simon Chalugui, Cabinet Secretary of Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises and Cooperatives, the year-old fund has not only eased access to finance, but also created competition in the market, forcing digital lenders to lower interest rates and making borrowing more affordable.
I've seen a move. I've seen adverts, I've seen billboards of other financial institutions pushing the interest towards single digit. And this is where we need to go, because through that reduction of borrowing cost, we create more money for investment.
But for a section of Kenyans on the ground, it's totally a different case. In Kenya's capital, Nairobi, with a population of about 4.5 million people, the business community highlights the different challenges they have faced when it comes to the famous fund.
No. Hustler Fund sisi tulisikia kwa TV ama kwa gazeti.
The nation media went further in the outskirts of Nairobi and the sentiments remained the same.
Tuseme wakati walipoingia tulifikiria kwamba hiyo Hustler Fund itasaidia kila mwananchi na watapata fedha za kutosha kama 50,000 ili wananchi waweze kufanya kazi. Lakini vile tulipata ikawa ni 500 haikutusaidia.
In Nandi County, though there is appreciation for the fund rollout, business people complain of the high cost of living that makes the borrowing limit inconsequential.
Sasa hii pesa ni kidogo sana kiasi kwamba hata ukichukua kwa simu ni deni, haitatosha wewe ununue vitu ya gharama ya leo ndio upate kesho ufanye kazi urudishe hizo pesa.
As for those from the Lakeside region, it's a case of extreme inaccessibility.
There's completely nothing Hustler Fund has helped me with. Because whenever I apply, it tells me that I do not qualify.
One of the success stories of the Hustler Fund is a man the government calls Harrison.
Harrison, for your information, is a tuk-tuk operator in Mombasa. And he borrows on a daily basis to fuel and run his tuk-tuk business. He borrows between 3 and 5 times a day.
Well, while that could be true, Harrison does not want to confirm the government's position. We tried to have a sit-down with him, but he flatly turned down our interview requests. The fund also has small wins, but a win is a win.
Hustler Fund imetusaidia, tumekuwa nikikopa tukirudisha, imetusaidia. Tunachukua 1000, unachukulia mahindi, unakuja unauza, halafu unarudisha.
After a thorough look into the effects of the Financial Inclusion Fund in the market, here is some advice Kenyans are lending the government.
Hii Hustler Fund wafanye review. Watu wengi waliambiwa kwani kuna Hustler Fund, serikali haikuchukua ama serikali haikuchukua jukumu ikuje ichukue maoni ya raia. Ielewe hii Hustler Fund ilifanya kazi kweli. Kuna sehemu zingine unaambiwa kwamba Hustler Fund ilifanya. Lakini hasa hapa Nandi na ni eneo ambayo tunaweza sema kwamba president wa nchi hii anatoka. Hiyo Hustler Fund ija materialize.
Ngombe mheshimiwa afanye juu chini Hustler Fund aweke 50,000, 10,000, 20,000. Ukichukua hata 20,000 unafanyia biashara, ukilipa na faida unafanya.
We share these sentiments with a man in whose docket the fund is domiciled.
Challenges that we still experience is the demand for more money. Many Kenyans are looking for more money than what Hustler can do. Remember, we are pioneering a financial literacy program, financial inclusion, and we don't want to play in the banking level. We want to remain down there at the Hustler. And as soon as we build capacity, we transition them to commercial financial institutions.
363 days after its implementation, the Financial Inclusion Fund, best known as Hustler Fund, has recorded 593,000 groups, 1.2 million approved group members, 52,700 complete groups, 40,500 groups with a borrowing limit, and 12,500 groups yet to be assigned a borrowing limit. The fund has also recorded 3,700 loans that are pending member approval. The amount of money disbursed to groups stands at 168 million shillings, with 22,000 borrowing groups. The number of members in the borrowing groups is 281,000, with a total repayment of 25.4 million shillings and total savings being at 8.4 million shillings. Nina Shaban, NTV.
Thank you, Nina. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations officers are probing the deaths of 4 people who were killed and their bodies found in different locations in the Kenya Defence Forces Recruits Training School farm in Eldoret. As the investigation continues, families of the 4 are calling for justice and compensation, as NTV's Gabriel Kudaka now explains.
It has been 4 days after the killing of 4 men said to have met their deaths at the hands of private security guards and KDF soldiers while allegedly collecting what was left after a maize harvest in a KDF plantation. Esther says she had been married to the late Daniel Kosgei for just 6 months.
Ilikuwa Jumamosi jioni, ndugu yangu alikula 7 masiwa, hakukula ugali na akatoka. Asubuhi ilikuwa saa 2, wakanipigia simu, nikaambiwa ameuawa na wanajeshi. Siku hiyo nilipata kuhangaika sana juu ndugu yangu alikuwa tegemeo, na iendelea hivyo, tusipopata usaidizi kutoka serikali, tunaona watoto wetu vijana wataangamia
Elphas Kipto was, however, lucky to have survived. He was among those who had gone to collect maize remnants from the plantation. He recounts the ordeal that befell his colleagues.
Na wakanipeleka penye masoja wako wanajeshi wawili. Ndio wakaenda kunikonga kwa mdomo, hata meno moja hakuna. Na kuna kisu hapa.
At Kolongei Primary School, a fundraiser is going on to help raise funds to cater for the funeral expenses of the 4 men. Families want justice and compensation.
Mnaona tukiwa hapa kama kikundi tukiomboleza kwa sababu haingewezekana tuende nyumba kwa nyumba, ikabidi tujisanya hapa alafu tuomboleze tukiwa mahali moja ambaye ni shule kwa ajili ya watoto wetu vijana 4 wenye waliuliwa juzi.
Mbona watoto wakufe na tupati haki? Sisi tutakuwa mama tunasalia chini. Hatusalii chini tena. Kama ni waisi wangeenda na mahindi, hata kama ni kitu afungwe naye, lakini sio kuwa. Tunaumia sana, tunalia. Tunalilia watoto wetu yenye tutapata. Watoto wadogo sana wenye wanategemea hapa nchini Kenya.
And we want to petition National Assembly Committee ambayo inahusika na security. Tuone vile hawa watu watakuwa compensated. Nasikia kuna makesi imeenda kotini. And we are going to make sure how our watoto wanyaliwawa, their families will pay compensation.
Detectives from the DCI visited the area to establish what could have transpired. There has been a frosty relationship between the locals and KDF. In 2016, 2 people were killed in almost similar circumstances. Gabriel Kudaka, NTV.
Time for another quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Up next is the day's business.
Could be Santa Claus.
Today we're on Happy Kenya Clean Toilet Mission. And we're visiting Mama Zawadi live in Nairobi. Come with me. Ah, Selena! Mama Zawadi, how do you keep your toilets clean?
I use normal detergent and bleach for washing.
The detergent and bleach cleanless can leave behind yellowness, rust, and germs. Harpic's 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergents and bleach. And kills 99.9% illness-causing germs in your toilet, including the COVID-19 virus.
Wow, Selena! Nimeamini sasa!
Really?
Yes!
Now that she's part of the mission, the next house is yours.
Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology, a premier university in science, technology and innovation, announces the 20th graduation ceremony to be held on Friday, 1st December 2023 at its main campus starting 8 a.m. Follow us live on YouTube and Facebook page. For more information, visit the university website www.mmust.ac.ke. Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology, the university of choice.
You do your best out there, let us do our best in here with the disinfecting power of Jake. Because Jake cleans and kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs and COVID-19 in your home. Jake, your family's guardian against germs and COVID-19.
We asked the children, how many of you brushed this morning? And this little boy, his hand didn't go up. And I said, well, why didn't you brush this morning? He said, my brother was using the toothbrush. If I'd waited for him, I would have been late for school. I'm sorry, I get a bit emotional when it comes to that. To be able to change a child's life, to be able to bring back that confidence about their smile, for me, is phenomenal.
Welcome back. In business tonight, the Council of Governors has once again called for a repeal of the amendments to the Public Finance Management Act of 2012, sections 191A to 191E, which obligates the National Treasury to enter into intergovernmental agreements with respective county governments before the transfer of conditional allocations. COG Finance Committee says the deadline for the access of the conditional grants is fast approaching and counties risk missing out on accessing the finances needed to augment budgetary requirements. The chair of the committee, Fernandez Barasa, was speaking after meeting a host of development partners here in Nairobi.
We are aware that there was amendment to the PFM Act, section 191A up to 191E, which obligated counties to sign intergovernmental agreements with the National Treasury that will facilitate release of conditional grants from the CRF account to the respective counties. However, those intergovernmental agreements, they haven't been signed yet. They're still in draft form. We are supposed to take them to the Assembly. We are supposed to have public participation. So our challenge and our main issue as a Council of Governors is the compliance requirement of those intergovernmental agreements has really made us not able to access almost 57 billion shillings from the conditional grants. Some of the conditional grants are expiring at the end of the year. So our ask is, number one, to be exempted from that requirement of the section 191A up to E, because we have other legal frameworks that have facilitated disbursement of funds, because this amendment, for your information, was done last year in May 2022.
Safaricom's mobile money platform, M-Pesa, has disclosed that it is working on a system integration plan that will see all mobile wallet customers across the 8 African markets that it operates in transact on a common platform. M-Pesa Africa CEO Sitoyo Lopokoyit told NTV the integration of the architecture will be complete in the next 12 to 15 months, in a development that will be instrumental to the expansion plans that the business has lined up. M-Pesa currently has a footing in Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, Lesotho, Ghana, Egypt, Ethiopia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Integration further means that M-Pesa customers across the 8 markets will be able to freely transact amongst themselves, including the utilization of the platform's tools that comprise sending money, paying businesses for goods and services obtained, as well as purchase of airtime, among others. John Musunga has been appointed to head the Diageo Africa's newly formed South, West and Central Africa market. Musunga has been heading the firm's Nigeria subsidiary, Guinness Nigeria, since October last year, and also serves as a non-executive director at the East African Breweries Limited. He is now set to assume the leadership role at Diageo SWC as a managing director based in London. Diageo has reorganized its operating region into 3 markets: East Africa Breweries Limited, which remains unchanged, Guinness Nigeria, marketing beer and mainstream spirits, and the new SWC hub. ICT students at Machakos University have taken digital innovations to another level by providing the infrastructure through world-class training. The state-of-the-art workshop was established 4 years ago through a memorandum of association between the university, Tianjin City Vocational College in China, among other partners. The latest innovations at the workshop include the training on emerging technologies in cloud computing, blockchain, artificial intelligence, AI, and Internet of Things, IoT. The use of IoT to manage waste and water levels, IoT and AI in smart agriculture, IoT and AI mobile application for managing transition for primary to secondary school, among others. The workshop is the second one to be established on the continent.
Focusing on the blockchain, the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and big data. So these actually are areas that are emerging now in the IT world. And as we know, IT has become the operational environment. You cannot do anything without utilizing IT, and especially the artificial intelligence. So we are seeing that more and more emphasis is being placed on the skills that emanate from these programs.
We are very proud in Machakos University to be the first university in Kenya to launch cloud computing and information security as a course.
We've been working on 2 projects. Notably, we have one is Metaverse Safaris, then the other one is Metaverse Classroom. So for the first one, it's about our world back. We're looking to create an experience whereby we have this digital world. So, you know, something like the VR headsets. So we're trying to recreate whatever we have in the real world in the virtual world.
Our project is focused on helping the visually impaired in navigating, in recognizing objects, and basically interacting with the environment as we increase their inclusivity in global matters such as climate change. They can also be able to access services such as e-commerce.
I shall leave it on NTV Business tonight. Many thanks for staying with us. Time for another quick commercial break. Bernard Dong is in studio with the latest in sports, but before then, we have more news for you when we return.
The AA journey started like a dream 104 years ago. With the right leadership, the right business model, the right standards and international affiliation with FIA, AA has grown to support you with various mobility products and services. And it's growing. Now, you need sunglasses because the future, the future of AA Kenya is too bright.
AA Kenya, inspiring mobility.
OneXBet presents the new 1000% hyper bonus. Take part in. Place your accumulators with OneXBet and boost your winnings by up to 1000%. Hyper bonus, better than bonus.
Kenya, twende mbele. NCBA, go for it.
Fresh. Nivea Fresh Deo. Now with new InfiniFresh technology. Antibacterial power with 48-hour protection and long-lasting freshness. Nivea Fresh Deo. Feel fresh in every moment.
When you're finally released from pain, that moment when you start to get back to ordinary, and ordinary feels amazing. Whatever pain you're going through, release starts here.
Welcome back to NTV Tonight. Now, the Form 1 selection process will continue after the High Court declined to halt the exercise pending the hearing and determination of 3 cases that questioned the integrity of the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education KCPE examination results. This comes as the National Assembly Committee on Education summoned Education CS Ezekiel Machogu and the Kenya National Examinations Council CEO David Njengere to explain the discrepancies in the 2023 KCPE results that were released last week. NTV's education reporter Rukia Bule has the details.
Since the 23rd of November 2023, when Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu released the 2023 KCPE results, some parents have expressed their dissatisfaction over the grading. Parents and learners of the Kitengela International School and Grill Hill Academy and Benjamin Magare Gikenyi, a Nakuru-based doctor, moved to court seeking to stop the start of the Form 1 selection process. In their petition, they argued that they are dissatisfied with the way the papers were marked, saying that the results have caused their children mental stress. Now, Milimani High Court Judge Lawrence Mugambi has declined to stop the ongoing Form 1 selection pending the hearing of 3 cases challenging the KCPE results. The Ministry of Education will go ahead to place learners in secondary schools based on the results announced last week by CS Machogu. The case will be mentioned on the 7th of February next year, after the selection has been done and Form 1 learners reported to their respective schools. Meanwhile, Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu and Kenyan National Examination Council CEO David Njengere will appear before the National Assembly Committee on Education tomorrow to explain the discrepancies in the 2023 KCPE results. Rukia Bule, NTV.
The government is now looking to eradicate female genital mutilation by 2030, according to the National Anti-FGM Board. This comes amid emerging trends in the practice, such as radicalization and cross-border FGM, that continue to threaten efforts by civil society organizations in bringing down the numbers. Kenya, however, boasts of reducing the numbers from 21% in 2015 to 15% in 2022, according to a report by the Kenya National Demographic and Health Survey. The situation is, however, dire in northeastern Kenya, with data showing that FGM is prevalent at over 83%. NTV's Ruth Satmoe puts these numbers into perspective.
Sarafina Loriakwe, a resident of Samburu County, knows all too well the impact of female genital mutilation after she underwent the cut at 14 years old.
And I was the first person to be cut. Even the water, because it is not a lot of water, it is like ata nusu kikombe, like that maji is little. So it didn't do anything. So I started bleeding and I bled a lot because I remember I passed the whole day. Even my dad, everyone was like panicking because my body was weak, everything was like, people were like, oh, they were scared. I remember I was cut 4 times. So like all of that is very painful to just imagine about it.
Working as a data analyst, Sarafina has been vocal in fighting the vice, but the scars of her procedure have left an indelible mark in her life.
FGM took a flesh in me and brought me a lot of shame and kind of pain. And also, I usually say, if I'm always also trying to be positive. It was meant to happen for me to be in this position. It gave me that power of really knowing how painful it is and stopping it for my generation to come.
Domtila Chesang, an anti-FGM campaigner in West Pokot County, explains how the vice has taken other forms since it was banned in 2011.
There was a lot of public ceremonies that accompanied FGM before the laws, but right now there's no celebration. It's done in secret. It's done even in a forest, in caves, on top of the hills, like in a very hidden place, or it can be done inside the house, at night, any time of the day. There's no specific time.
Data from the Kenya Demographic Health Survey indicates that the practice is prevalent at 44%, 293% higher than the national average. But the numbers are more glaring in the north. Wajir County leads at 97%, followed by Mandera at 96%, and Garissa and Marsabit at 83%.
Basically, the northeastern counties are still at the rate above 83. That is from 83 to 97. So that's like saying it's 100%. Counties like Kisii, Migori, Elgeyo Marakwet are ranging between 27 and 30.
Other than the cut being undertaken in secrecy, the issue of cross-border FGM has worsened the situation in the north.
Previous FGM in Somalia is a 98%. The cross-border Somalia and Ethiopia that are FGM is increasing. So Ethiopian, they have a policy and bill, FGM bill, but Somaliland they have no. So many cattle, they are coming in Ethiopia, they come in Somaliland border to circumstances.
Stakeholders are, however, optimistic that ongoing efforts by different organizations will result in a drop of the numbers in the coming years.
We're very aware that CSOs are particularly important players or stakeholders on the ground. They're very close to communities, right? They work closely within communities and therefore they're on the ground. So what we're seeking to do is how do we strengthen the movements by CSOs?
Data from the Anti-FGM Board shows that 4 million women and girls have undergone the cut so far. Ruth Sarmoi, NTV, Nakuru.
The Kenya Union of Clinical Officers has issued a 21-day strike notice demanding the resumption of negotiations by the national government and the Council of Governors on their collective bargaining agreement. The union says failure to address issues at the center of the negotiations has affected productivity of the healthcare professionals, compromising on the quality of service delivery to Kenyans. The union also wants the government to expedite promotions of all qualified clinical officers.
We are here to put them on notice, to give them 21 days, just so that we give them the benefit of doubt, to have reconvened the CBA negotiation meetings, to have effected the promotions. And we agreed under the Kericho Declaration that they were going to expedite promotions across the country. If they do not act within the 21 days, I want to assure them, I want to assure Kenyans that we are starting next year with the mother of all strikes.
This is a dire situation that we are in, and we want to say that we have seen this country launching the UHC 3 times. This was the 4th time. And it was our expectation that this reform was to see this country go beyond the launch, the normal music. Otherwise, we will continue seeing the launch after launch after launch after launch.
You're watching NTV tonight. It's time for one final commercial break. When we return, Benandong will be telling us what the latest is in the world of sports.
We believe in your financial potential, and we are here to help you reach new heights. Enjoy an attractive interest rate of up to 14% per annum on your savings. Make the most of this exclusive offer today and let your money thrive. For more details, call us today or visit a branch near you. Stanbic Bank.
Hii Krisi, GoTV Stream iko mkononi, mechi yako na sports action yote, na watoije hata wao hawajawachwa nyuma. Wacha enjoyment izidi hii holiday na GoTV. GoTV Stream, available from 1st December for all active customers.
Hi there, my name is George Washiri, CEO Optiven Group, and I'm very excited to introduce Ushidi Gardens Nakuru. This property is developed by Optiven, and we are doing compacted maram roads. We plant the trees, fence the property. What's unique about this property? It's only 1.2 kilometers off the highway and 18 minutes from Nakuru City, the pink city. So please call this number 0790 300 300. Optiven, we have you covered.
On my dark marks, I've tried everything from A to Z, even vitamin C, but hardly any results. Nivea Lumina 630 works from day one, with visible results in just 2 weeks and 71% dark marks reduction in 12. Join the 1 million women already using the #1 Lumina 630 from Nivea.
Develop a problem-solving mindset. Think critically and approach questions, challenges, and setbacks with a positive and proactive attitude. You'll gain a reputation as someone who wants to make an impact and get things done.
Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology announces the 20th graduation ceremony to be held on Friday, 1st December 2023 at its main campus starting 8 a.m. Follow us live on YouTube and Facebook page.
Hello there, it's time for the Wednesday Sports Update. Good evening, I'm Bernard Ndong. Substitute Violet Nanjala missed an added time penalty as Harambee Starlets drew 1-1 with Botswana in the first leg of the final round of the 2024 Women's African Cup of Nations qualifier that was played at the Nyayo National Stadium. The South Africans broke the deadlock in the 37th minute via Ketemutse Tebete before Madeleine Nekesa leveled the score from the spot at the stroke of halftime. However, what appeared to be a winning penalty for the home team was saved by Botswana's custodian Clamelo Teresi. The second leg will be staged in Botswana on the 5th of next month.
Madeleine Nekesa. Violet Nanjala. Nanjala! Anakosa penalty kubwa.
But last time kwa penalties Violet alipiga penalty na alipiga vizuri. Players sometimes wana need kila mtu kujipa confidence that naweza piga. Hiyo time ilikuwa crucial time. Kuna players wale wana walk away from penalty at that time, wasipate any blame, but kuna players wale wana feel confident enough. Penalty is always 50-50 game, so anything could happen.
Now, Kenya has named its 2 representative teams for the FIBA 3-on-3 Africa Cup that will be held at the Cairo International Stadium in Al-Kahira, Egypt from the 1st of December to the 3rd. The 2 teams for the men's and women's has been training for the past 2 months in residential training. Natalie Achieng will captain the team that has Hilda Indasi, Masi Wanyama and Madina Okot. The women's team is currently ranked 2nd in the continent and 27th worldwide. They have been grouped with Benin, Madagascar, Morocco and Nigeria. Ariel Otega will be the skipper for the men's team, which also has Albert Odera, Victor Ochieng and Fahim Juma. Kenya has been grouped with Benin, Madagascar, Morocco and Mali.
And the addition of Albert is really a good addition because he brings the experience from abroad. He understands the game, so I think we have a very good chance of winning the competition.
We need to win all our matches and top the pool first to have a slot in the semis directly without going the semis qualifiers or something. Yeah. So our target first is to win our pools. Games, we top the pool. From there, we'll know what next.
And staying on the basketball court, where young enthusiasts together with their coaches are soon going to be exposed to high-level basketball training programs after the National Basketball League, better known by its acronym, the NBA, opened its offices in Nairobi. The NBA opened a branch today as they seek to expand their presence in Africa and improve the levels of basketball in the country. Present during the opening of the offices was the United States Ambassador Meg Whitman, the NBA Africa CEO Victor Williams, NBA Kenya Head of Operations Michael Finley, Basketball African League President Amadou Gallo, together with 5-time NBA champion Ron Harper. Harper later on conducted a junior NBA clinic where he shared his knowledge and expertise and also trained the youngsters. NBA seeks to improve the standards of the game in the country by educating teachers and coaches from next year.
This is very significant for the relationship between Kenya and the U.S. Everyone knows the NBA and the premier basketball association in America, and they chose to come to Kenya. and they're building 6,000 basketball courts for the youth. You can see they've already recruited a whole host of players to come to their clinics and things like that. And I think basketball used to be a bigger sport in Kenya. So I know that the government and the NBA are hoping to bring that back, starting with the kids.
Kenya is one of the priority markets for the NBA as we grow the game and the NBA brand across Africa. And so we selected a number of countries that we thought had great basketball potential and fan interest, as well as strong commercial partnership opportunities.
What it's going to do is going to give us the opportunity to get more young people a chance to play the game. It'll give us an opportunity to help improve on the already really solid school structure that Kenya has through the Kenya Secondary School Sports Association and through the Ministry of Education.
Infrastructure, need to be built up, and it's great to talk to the head of state and to hear the commitment from at the highest level, of authority in the country, the Ministry of Sport. Everybody's super motivated to support this initiative. And
they have a lot of great athletes over here that haven't had the opportunity to be in a facility. Now we're giving them that opportunity to be in the facility.
Tong Isaac clocked 55.68 seconds to clinch gold in the men's 400 meters at the Africa Deaf Championships that's being held at the Kasarani Stadium in Nairobi as the hosts continued their dominance at the games. Nasser Mohamed of Algeria timed 57.29 seconds to clinch second place as Kenya's Muthe George completed the podium positions. Elsewhere, Kenya dominated in the 5,000 meters final with Wamboi Ian, Peter Wareng and Lucas Wanjiru finishing first, second and third respectively. At the same time, Sharon Bitok, who scooped gold in the 1500 meters final on Tuesday, led Ida Odero and Baraza, dominating the 800 meters women's final. The 10,000 meters showpiece also saw the hosts triumph with Peter Wareng, David Kiptum and Manti Ndongo finishing first, second and third.
I never gave up for that. I really did much, and it is the first time that I'm winning 100 meters in African Championship. Recently.
And finally, action in the UEFA Champions League continues tonight as Real Madrid take on Napoli, while Bayern Munich entertain Copenhagen at the Allianz Arena from 11 p.m. Manchester United are currently facing off against Galatasaray, and from the recent update, the Red Devils were leading by 2-1. Last night, they are with referee. That update from the Champions League marks the end of the sports update for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Bernard Ndong.
And that's where we leave it on NTV tonight, this Wednesday night, the 29th day of November 2023. For all of us on the broadcast, we appreciate the privilege of your time tonight. I'm Ben Kitili. Good night. Good night.
This is NTV.
We've got unbeatable shows for the whole neighborhood to choose from.
I can have my happily ever after.
So stay connected to DSTV this holiday season to make the best entertainment yours. DSTV, it's your moment.
Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology, a premier university in science, technology and innovation, announces the 20th graduation ceremony to be held on Friday, 1st December 2023 at its main campus starting 8 a.m. Follow us live on YouTube and Facebook page. For more information, visit the university website www.mmust.ac.ke. Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology, the university of choice.
1xBet presents the new 1000% hyper bonus. Take part in. Place your accumulators with 1xBet and boost your winnings by up to 1000%. Hyper bonus, better than bonus.
Tharaka University, a public institution of higher learning located in Tharaka-Nithi County, offers PhD, Master's, Bachelor's, Diploma and Certificate programs in its 5 faculties. The Council, Management and Staff and the graduating class of 2023 invites you to the second graduation ceremony to be held on 1st December starting 8 a.m. Congratulations, class of 2023. University's faculties are Faculty of Business Studies, Faculty of Education, Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, Faculty of Life Sciences and Natural Resources Management, Faculty of Physical Sciences, Engineering and Technology. Tharaka University, education for freedom.
They are the leaders of their pack, trailblazers who dare to dream. These are the men leading the way. Meet the creative disruptors, sports enthusiasts, tech geniuses, corporate gurus, finance and legal experts, among many other professions, who are powerhouses shaping the future only in the Business Daily Top 40 Under 40 Pullout. Available exclusively in your copy of the Business Daily on Friday 1st December 2023 when we unveil this year's Top 40 Under 40 Men winners. Business Daily. More possibilities.
This is NTV. The following program has been rated 16. It may be unsuitable for persons under the age of 16.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 4th annual Tom Horn Day.
You look at a cowboy and you automatically think that's the toughest, one of the toughest people you'll meet. We ride bulls, we ride broncs, we're not afraid to look death in the face, and we have that personality type that we are strong. But having a mental illness or fighting demons or substance abuse, those are just as stronger.
There's a lot more stigma and taboo, I guess, behind talking about depression and suicidal ideations. I don't know if it's just a Wyoming thing or if it's a nation thing or global, I don't know, but it's perceived as men aren't allowed to share their feelings.
Yes, I'm very aware. I've had very close friends that have passed away from suicide, probably around 10.
I just enjoy being around the livestock. They're just not much prettier than horses and cows, in my opinion. Guys take a lot of pride in their land, and I think that's what I enjoy most is the accomplishments of the everyday activities, seeing these babies born every year and seeing the cows have calves and just getting to be around them every day. And I don't have kids, so this is as close to the family atmosphere as I've got. Farmers and ranchers are some of the poorest people you ever meet. We're just happy to get a meal and be able to provide for our livestock, or be able to plant our crops. And a lot of times we're just just struggle just to make ends meet. We've got banks calling us wanting money, and we've got, you know, debt we got to pay, and when we financially fail or struggle to pay our bills, you know, that puts a whole emotional burden that we've failed, you know, and I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons that factors in. I can think of like 5 right now that I knew personally. In the last probably 5 years since I've been here, it's probably average about 1 a year. And I don't know a whole lot of people. We aren't scared of work. Like, we'll go do whatever it takes to get the job done. And that's kind of our mentality. Like, we should be able to get through it ourselves. That we do stuff every day and never had to call on anyone to help us.
And 2013 was the first breaking point. I had a plan, and I was going to follow through with it. My plan was, I went to work early, went and delivered some product to material to a customer, and on my way back I was just going to come straight home and attempt suicide. My plan was to come here and grab a pistol and shoot myself. And as soon as my tires hit the interstate, everything changed. Don't know why, but everything changed. I wanted to live. And then in 2017, same thing just happened. I was super depressed, super suicidal. And I was like that for 2 or 3 weeks maybe. My bike was pretty much right there, it was a little further back. And I sat right here so I can get as much concentrated carbon monoxide as possible. I laid my head back, I just all those texts reflected, or just saw all those texts, and I was like, well, I'm not ready to die, and tried to crawl out and got the door open and fell out of the door and literally crawled all the way over to the porch, and police came running up and took anything away from me that was harmful. They took my pocket knife, and which is understandable, and my mom and wife came up and saw me. Paramedics came up and took me to the hospital. That time it was just all just sad, self-pity, self-doubt, not worth anything. Nobody should deal with my issues. But that's one of the thoughts, is like, well, what I got going on, nobody deserves to put up with. And standing here talking about it, this is pretty much the first time I've talked about it like this with anybody. And it's actually calming to me.
It's one of the weirdest feelings. The house almost felt heavy. Just even putting your hand on the door, and you're just kind of like, you almost didn't want to go inside, not knowing exactly why. I feel like I've kind of developed that, like when he's just not vibing. There's something not right. Let's figure it out.
Back then I tried, but it was so powerful, pretty much impossible. But now I don't even try anymore. I can't hide feelings anymore. Took a lot of effort and encouragement from my wife to get me to open up. I was just trying to get comfortable with my own thoughts and feelings and releasing those. Sometimes they're embarrassing. To me, that was the hardest part, is getting over the fact of being comfortable with talking about it.
I think in the beginning, because I didn't know how to get him to open up. And so it got to a point where I purposely would get us into a fight to either get the emotions out. That was a really big crash course with us. Here, sit, wait.
It's just, I don't know if it's just a Wyoming thing or if it's a nation thing or global, I don't know. But it's perceived as men aren't allowed to share their feelings.
Hey, this is Rand Seeley. Just want to take a minute and talk to you guys real quick. We're starting a new campaign. It's a suicide prevention campaign called No More Empty Saddles. And it's been a battle in the ag community for years and years and years. And Tom Horndays and myself, Seeley Rodeo, Seeley Remuda, we want to start giving back and trying to do more to prevent that stuff.
There needs to be that acknowledgement that the Western states have different issues to be dealt with. Number one is resources, mental health resources. A lot of our care in Wyoming comes from nurse practitioners because we don't have enough doctors. We don't have a lot of substance abuse providers. There's always a waiting list. Oftentimes, especially for men, they feel like they're a failure to their family. They're just a greater risk. And part of it is the mentality, the stigma of mental health and substance abuse. Fear of being judged, fear of reaching out. So you have organizations like No More Empty Saddles, where we're on the ground, we're out talking. I'm not sitting in an office waiting for somebody to call me. I'm at the rodeo. I'm talking to people. So I was set up in the pasture first night, and it was cold and it was raining and it was muddy and it was just miserable, and there was a knock on my door, and when I opened up the door there was a young man standing there, and he had his hat off, and he said, "Are you the suicide lady?" And I kind of giggled and said, "Well, if you're trying to do it, the answer is no. If you want help not doing it, the answer is yes." And he kind of stopped and went, "Oh yeah, no, can we just talk?" And I said, "Sure." Sometimes that's all anyone needs is an ear. They just need someone. They don't need someone to fix their problems. They just need somebody to listen.
Iggy's, do you want to help? Yes. Okay. Huh? You gonna help too? Okay.
When I was happy, I was really happy. I liked the feeling. I liked to be that way, and I wanted to be that way. And then on top of that was loved ones, my wife, my parents, friends. Those were also gave me fuel or drive. Since our kids have been born, I've been seeing a therapist a little more often. I'm probably seeing a therapist every 3 to 6 weeks, depending. More I guess average about 4 weeks. Still taking medication. So lithium twice a day, lamochargine once a day, propranolol twice a day, bupropion twice a day. I think it's because all my efforts and hard work and applying all these tools is why I'm able to notice it so quickly, and it doesn't get as bad, it doesn't get as severe. The way I've seen this group is us to teach them to notify their triggers, work with them, and build tools and move on and apply it to their life, not to keep coming back. I needed to get healthy again before I could help people out. And actually it was probably December of 2019. I think is when I finally got back into helping people out and suicide prevention awareness. So, and that's actually when we started our SOSA group, our Survivors of Suicide Attempt group. And it's an 8-week course. Start to realize who you are on a little bit different level, and then notice what your triggers are, and how to stop those triggers, and then use tools to get yourself better, and then apply that in your day-to-day life. Help me out.
I'm just amazed how far you've come. You've really put in a ton of work, not only for everybody, but for yourself, and you seem a lot happier. And,
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. And I appreciate how much you actually want to help other people, and it seems to help you when you are able to help other people, and that's always really cool to see that drive.
Thanks. Thanks. It's nice to know the appreciation and support, even though I knew it was there. It's just nice to hear you say it.
I think it's just never discount someone else's feelings. Like, don't put yourself always like, well, I wouldn't feel like that. I think that's how you would encourage just to be a little bit more open and accepting.
The fear people know, and the stigma of not being able to talk about it, the help being possibly hours away. There's not much advertisement. You don't hear much on the radio. You don't hardly see any like billboards or anything. You see a few. I think that's probably a very big part that could help to turn things around, is advertising mental health.
A lot of cowboys and cowgirls this year. The group No More Empty Saddles was organized to prevent suicide along with drugs and alcohol abuse.
We have the magnets,